Hi everyone, I'm Nanas Jr. I'm a scripter at the Roblox platform, and today I'm going to show you how to make a very simple game in Roblox Studio. It's my first time to make a movie, but I got many questions about how to script, how to make games. So I'm just gonna give a demo so you can see what it's like. So first I'm gonna show some simple things. I'm making a new user interface. You always usually put them in the starter GUI. And in there, I put a new interface, a new graphical user interface. And inside, I put the button. I'm also gonna put a frame. I'm gonna put the button inside the frame. That's better. Okay, so I want to change the default ratios a bit. Let's say we make a 0.8, 80% of the screen. So it's always the x coordinate fraction of the screen, the pixels offset, and fraction in the y coordinate, and pixels in the y coordinate. So now we have a pretty big UI, and let's also move it a little bit to the center. Alright, so we have a button in here. Let's also make it based on ratio. So if the screen offsets the ratio, I prefer to just later use a constraint to keep the ratio the right size. Anyway, because now it depends on the ratio. But for that our game, that's not gonna matter. So I'm just gonna call this the game frame. Perfect. All right. So this game is going to be only on the client side, fully local. I'm gonna use a local script to do everything. That means it won't be able to save. Other people won't be able to see what's happening for this player. Other players won't be able to see the results. But at least it's going to be a very simple playable game. So this is our first local script. And first thing we need to do is get a reference to the game frame that we have. So I put the script inside the UI, and then the frame is also inside the UI. So first I'm going to go make a variable for the UI. And so that will be the parent of this script. And then I'm gonna look for the frame, game frame, and that will be the child of the UI. And I already am not using the conventions of Lua, so this is better. Immediately get punished. Alright, so we're looking for the image button now. Local image button is game frame. I should probably copy paste a bit there. Alright, so now we can find our button in our script because we are gonna be interested in whether it's clicked. And so we can find out on the API website on Roblox. I can show you really quick. So Roblox API. No, image button. So down here we're gonna have the events connected or that are part of this object, and the button has an activated event which is fired when the button is activated. So the nice thing about this is that it also works on mobile and everything. It doesn't just listen to the computer mouse. So we're gonna use, I already have it. We're gonna connect to the event, and so we have to connect the function there. I'm gonna connect the anonymous function. So we can do in here whatever needs to happen when the button is going to be clicked. Clicked button. Alright, so this is just to demonstrate the way a button works. Now we can play the game and click the button how we like, and it will say here in the output log where it's printed that we click the button. So it groups together that it did 18 times, but it really does it 18 times. Alright, so in our game we're gonna have lots of buttons, and it's basically a game about clicking buttons. So we may not want to do this code manually for every separate button. So let's start with putting this in a function. We're gonna want every button to do the same thing. So we can just make one connect button function, put our stuff in there, and now we're gonna say you're gonna get a button, not just any. So now we can pass it our image button, and you'll see that it will be doing exactly the same thing, but a little bit more generic, so that we can reuse it easily. Alright. So now I guess let's make a couple more buttons. Why am I not able to change this? Alright. And I'm gonna put some buttons here. Just gonna make a little landscape, I guess. Should I actually be using image buttons? What happens if I remove the placeholder image? Basically, I just need them to have color. Alright. Well, that's fine. Okay. So let's make a couple more. Let's make one really big one. So this one should probably go to the back. So I moved the Z index to the back, but you can see it's still there. It's still in front of the game frame behind it. Okay, and the other frames are also, the other buttons are also on top of each other, and it's in order of which one you put in first. Fairly straightforward. I copied this one, yes. Alright. Well, I guess this will do for now. Just have a couple of buttons. I guess we should give them all a different name so that we can differentiate them later. So this game is gonna be a coloring game. It's gonna be using the 4-color theorem to make it very easy for us to come up with levels without having to think very hard about the puzzles. Okay, so I made 7 image buttons, and so basically I want to have this function done on each of them, but I'm not just gonna call this function 7 times. I'm actually just gonna go through my game frame and say for index, and then we'll have a button, my button in pairs, and now we want to take the game frame and look at all the children of the game frame. Oops, get children. So this function gets us the children, and then we're gonna use pairs to loop through them using index value pairs. Do. Alright, so now we can just use this. Actually, we don't need this reference directly anymore. We're just gonna send all our buttons there. But wait, what if later we put some other stuff in there too? So let's make sure that what we're sending is really a button. If my button let's make sure it's an image button. So image button has a class name. Where is it? Class name. and it's called simply image button. Now it's kind of predictable. And only if it's an image button we want to do our special function on it. Alright, so if we run our code now, it should still be doing just exactly the same. But now for every button. So, and notice that only the top button is clicked. So let's make sure that that's what's happening, because now we're getting our button here, and we say print which button we're clicking. Oh, so this would be image button 6, this is button 2, button 1, 7, 4. Okay, I could have given them better names, but that's not really the point. Alright, so now we're gonna make a level. And basically our game is gonna be that you have to give every frame a particular color and make sure that the neighboring buttons are not having the same color. So I'm gonna make 4 colors available. Let's first start by defining a new table of colors, and they're just gonna be a list. So I'm just gonna put values in there right away. Color 3, new. So I really like this about the IDE, about Studio, that it pops up this thing here and I can just pick my colors like this. Oh, that's great. Okay, I'm gonna use 4 colors, so let's choose them. Red, green, blue, and yellow. Alright. And now we're gonna say if you click the button, then it should go to the next color. But that means it should also track which color it currently has. So we're gonna make another table to keep track of that per button. So local colors per, let's not call it the color, let's call it the state per button. And we're gonna make an empty table for it, because we don't even know at this point yet which buttons they're gonna be. They're all loaded automatically. But once we get here and they're clicked, then we know, oh, there's a button. And that's really the first time, I guess. No, we care about it earlier, because we need to know you're gonna have to make a level. Yeah, maybe we should do that first. Local. Let's keep our level in a separate script. So we're gonna make this a module script so that our local script can import it. And basically I'm just gonna write a function that get level. And so if this function is called, it will return the level. What is the level? We're gonna make it now. It's just a table describing which button is next to which other button. So image button 1, let's see how we're gonna do this. So what I'm writing here is gonna be a string. Equals. Is this a good way to structure it? So I guess I can just define them one by one. I'm gonna do it manually. I'm not having a script yet to generate levels or something. And so each will get the definition of his neighbors. Is that really handy? Because now we may have to do it twice. I only want to give one definition each. The idea is that we want to know, are two buttons connected? And so we want to be able to say button 1, button 2, if. So this is what we want to work toward. So I guess we can just define them once, and then we'll add the doubles if they're not there yet. So image button 1 is next to button 2, button 3, and the big one, that's 5. What was it? 2, 3, and 5. Okay, then 2 is connected to 1, 3, not that one, 7, and 8. Well, this is probably the most interesting part. What did I say? Alright, so I made the level. So I didn't want to make it redundant, so somewhere missing. Button 5 is touching every other button. But I didn't define any because the other way is already defined. So our script is gonna make sure that if it's connected one way, obviously it should be connected the other way too. This one is only connected to 5, so yeah. Alright, this is a thing we need. And now we should be able to use that sort of construction to know whether two buttons are connected. Let's write the function to make sure. Local buttons are connected. So this is the part, or later maybe we want to just get a reference. Oh, it has to be a function, of course. We just want to get the reference to our buttons and see if they're touching or something, but that's too complicated for now. So we're gonna have to import our level first. So to do that, we have to call our level module script. Oh. Alright, so we're gonna take our level module script. That is the UI, how do they call it again? The user interface. We don't have the reference yet here. The user interface. Oh. Alright. Now we want to get our level. Actually our module script. So we have to require our module script to get the module. And that module has a function getLevel, which we defined here. And it will give us our level. Level is not a great name because it sounds like it could be just a number or something. Whatever. Okay, so in our level we can then say, are the buttons connected? And button 2. So we're using their names, their string. And so right now we made sure that every so we can fill this table, or we can check both ways. And every button should have at least a table there, so we don't have to check whether there is even a table. But we could do it like that if we did have to check for that. Alright, so actually I kind of like it the lazy way. We're just gonna say it's connected if either of them is defined. So we're gonna say either button 1 is next to button 2 or button 2 is next to button 1, and we're too lazy to define it the other way around as well. So this means it would be connected. Return true. And if that's not the case, then return false. Oh, I guess we don't need to do that really. Alright, so now we have a function that tells us whether two buttons are connected based on the way we define the level. And the level describes the buttons that we have here and how they're connected. So now we can start doing the actual gameplay. Okay, and so we're working on a state per button, and it was supposed to keep track of all the buttons. So let's first just go to our level for E. We call it button name in pair. So now we're just gonna loop directly over our table. And so on the first level of our table, we're just gonna have as the index our image button and as the value a table with our stuff. And we're right now just interested to get these 8 button names. And we're going to keep the color state. So let's start with color state is 0 when they're white, when you didn't start the game yet. So, oh, I made a mistake. The connected table. Okay, so button name, and we're gonna say color is 0. Okay, and now we can say when somebody presses our button that we want the button with that name to be increased by 1. But actually, it should never be more than 4. So what's the best way to write this? Probably just copy it like this. Why is this? This means I made a typo somewhere. Plus 1, and then it should be, wait, this should be modulo 4, and then we do the plus 1. That's clever. Alright, so where do we make a typo that makes our layout mess itself up? Probably we forgot a bracket or an and somewhere, yep. Okay, yeah, so here we initialize our thingy to 0, and now it just increased the button, and let's say local my color Okay, so we're gonna use the states to get the new color, and then we're gonna say button dot color. What's it called again in a button? Is the color tree or just color? Background color. Yeah, that's probably the one we need. Is background color or background color tree? Tree. Background color. Ground color. Alright, so this should allow us to change the color when we click the button. No. brick color expected. What? So, background color. Background color 3? It was. Okay. So, yay, we can. Maybe I should try to turn off the unhover. It's not working the same. Ah, interesting. Yeah. Let's see if we can turn that off. I think it's this one. To mouse events. Yeah, don't do that. Alright. So now we can click our button and change the color. But now we want to see if somebody won the game by making the map in all the right colors. So now two colors are touching the same color. So we have to gonna have to write a final function. And let's do it up here. Local function check win. Okay, so what we have to do now is for every connection in our level, make sure that they are not the same state per button. And that they're not 0, because that would be kind of cheating. Alright, so for, and what do we have? Button 1, button name 1, con table in pairs, level 2. And now we're gonna say for button 2, con table 2. This is done for all the connections in our level. Only once, or maybe it's done twice. It doesn't matter if it checks twice. And so if a condition is met, namely it's either 0 or they're the same, then we know that you didn't win, so then we can return false. And only if it gets through all the checks, then we're gonna return true that you win. Okay, so the first check is that our state per button, so it can be 0 or the other one can be 0 or, alright, so either this is 0 or they are the same. So now I have to just fill in the right button names. So we have button name 1 here and here, and then we have button name 2 here and here. So I guess now they're checking all the connections, and if it finds an invalid connection. What? Oh. This is probably a better way to write this, but that's a lot less ugly. Alright, that's much more readable. Okay, this should allow us to see if we won or not. So I guess let's try it. Alright, so here we are. We can test our game. So let's see. We need a solution with our 4 colors. Shouldn't be hard on this level. Maybe this one red and this green. Yeah, I think we got it. This must be the solution. Okay, so we should have won, but I know what I forgot. We're not actually checking if we won. So, when the button is clicked, we should check for the win. local has 1. Alright. Right, let's test it. Oh, oops. I didn't want that. Alright. This should be a solution. Something is going wrong. So it should win if we have fun. It should check the win. No win. Why does it say no win? That's not good. Which of these conditions? So I connected image button 3 to image button 3. That's not very clever. And it's never going to win. Oh, let's try it again. Yeah. Oh, it detects that I can win. So, let's do a little extra check. Make sure that we count how many colors were used. Alright. So, we have a working game. Click our buttons, change their color. And it's not gonna work. Oh, my own game is hard. Bad at it. Alright. So, now we should probably make something to remove this whole thing. Start a new level. Did use 4 colors. So, when you think about it, maybe the level module script and the game frame kind of belong together. And we'll make a little folder with our levels. Inside that we'll have subfolders for our levels. So I have level 1, level 2. So yeah, I guess right now just gonna use the same level twice. So I guess you can change them later. But now we're gonna make the game work a bit differently. Okay, so we're gonna put our levels folder in where it belongs, in replicated storage. And in our local script we're gonna say local replicated storage game get service replicated storage. So we want to have the levels folder. Oh, that's a string. And from the levels, oh no, we don't want to do that yet. Local function get level. Alright, so we no longer have our own game frame here, but we're just gonna get a number here, the number of the levels. For example, we want level 1, right? So now we're gonna say local my level folder is level folder. Wait for no, it's a little bit iffy. Find first child. We don't really know if we'll really find it, but and it's called level, and then we want to use that number that's coming in. Want to turn it into a string first. Level number. So now we take our number, we turn it into a string, and then we put it to the end of the word level, and then we know what's the name of our folder. We're gonna try to find it using find for child, and we're gonna say if not my level folder, that means it didn't find it, and then we want it to return. And actually we want to say warning, unknown level, a level number. So you might want to cast it to a string, but I think if you use the comma instead of making, so if you do string concatenation, it really needs to be both a string. You cannot do concatenate a string and but you can print a number. So now I'm just giving separate arguments to the printing to the warning, so it has a nice fancy color. It comes down to the same thing, I think. So I don't need to cast it to a string in this case. Well, anyway. Okay, so we got our level folder, and then we're gonna say, okay, our user interface. We already have that. Our module script and our level module script. This is what we're gonna be needing. So our game frame is now gonna be part of the level folder and module script too. Why do we use this game frame again? Oh yeah. Alright, and we probably need to return the frame as well. Alright, so this is not gonna be our real game frame, it's gonna be our template. So new game frame. It's gonna be a clone of our template. And we want this to become a child of our user interface. Alright, so now we got the copy of that frame and our level. So how are we gonna set our current level? Probably we just do it. So we move everything into our new round function. Oh, that's global. Oh. Alright, so we're gonna get our level. We're gonna set our states per button correctly. Probably want to make sure it's really a new table. Then we want to get our game frame here. We made it all the way in start level here. Gonna return. Okay, so what's a better way for the other places to be able to reach? So they need to reach the state. They need to reach the level. Alright, so we have code now to define our colors, to look for our level. We have our user interface, that's the one we're just always using where the local script is. And we're gonna have for every round our own level and our game frame, so we just keep our variables here on the global level for now. It's a very not the cleanest way to script it, but it gets it done for now. So we have a function to start a new level. We will grab our level folder and load our user interface. Then we have a module script that we import, and we get from that the data for the level, so which images are connected together. Then we're gonna keep a new set of states for this level, so that's gonna be also part of the new round. So those are the three things we keep every round. And we're gonna say we start in round 1. Alright, so if you win and destroy the current game frame, when the level is started, it resets all the states, so we don't need to do that here. We just destroy the old frame. So we have a way to check if we won. We didn't change that at all. We can check if two buttons are connected by looking into our level. And yeah, buttons are connected, and connect button, it's a bit confusing. But this is about connecting a function to the button, and this is about whether they are buttons are neighbors. Oh, that's probably better. Okay, so where do we use that thing? Arc. Buttons. Alright, we never even used this. Alright. That's fine, we don't need it. And we can connect a button. Sure. This is the way to start a new round. And then we start a new round. I only have 2 levels right now, but now it just starts a new round right away. In fact, we should probably wait until the previous round is over. Let's make something for that. Local round over event is instance new bindable event. Right, and now we're just gonna say fire the event when the round is over and wait for the event to fire when you're starting a new round before starting a new round. Well, let's wait 2 seconds. Print starting new round. Alright, now we sort of have a game, I guess. Oh, seems I made a typo. Save it. Oh, I save a lot. And here we go. It's a complete bug. Wait is not a valid member of bindable event. Yes, because we're not just waiting for the event, we're waiting for the event to fire. What's the event? Discard event. Okay, so when it fires the event, and we wait for it. Yay. And then yellow. Huh. Right. It worked. I go to the next round. Alright. So it should actually probably say that before starting a new round. Print game ended. And suppose that you are winning. Let's wait like 1 second. So you can actually see yourself having won. Okay. Well, this is the game. Congratulations if you made it this far. I hope you learned something. Malformed string. You don't see that a lot. 196. You wrote a lot of code. Ha. Great. Well, fair enough. So, here we go. A finished game. I may use this concept in one of my actual games someday. But for now, feel free to copy it, make your own stuff, experiment. And yeah, so one last thing. Due to the 4-color theorem, it's you never need more than 4 colors. So that's a nice thing about this kind of map. It's proven that you always need 4 colors at most. But maybe there are solutions where you use fewer colors. Maybe it's possible with 3 colors or even only 2. I can tell that's not really gonna work here because there's too many connected all together to each other here. So you can never have a solution with 2 because then this third one, yeah, they would need to have. But let's puzzle a bit if we can find a. So there's 3 here. They are connected together, so they all have to be the same color. But then we still have to do this one. So it's never gonna work in 3. Well, that's the fun of this game. Maybe some levels it will be possible. It's kind of hard to figure out. So I hope you enjoyed this movie. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and have fun. Keep creating. I hope to see your games appear on Roblox. Bye.